In the object mode, I like to go up to the add button and add an armature, single bone, and select it. The bone can't be seen because it's inside of the body. To make this bone visible, go over to your object data properties. Go to the viewport display tab and check the in front box. Now you can see the bone. Now I change my mode from object mode to edit mode. Now I can see the bone even better. Now I adjust my view to see the bone better. Now I select the bone by left clicking. Then I press G to grab and the Z key to keep it on the Z axis while I move it into position. Then I left click to release. Now I select the small circle at the tip of the bone. With it selected, I press E to extrude and Z to keep it on the Z axis as I pull it upward. Once I get to my desired location, I repeat the same process again, pressing E to extrude and Z to keep it on the Z axis. I do this for the chest, for the neck, and for the head. Now I take a moment to rename my bones. I do this by selecting the bone, go into bone properties, and in the name box, I type in hip. Then I move upward to the next bone, type in gut. I move to the next bone. I name this one chest. I move up to the next bone. I'll name this one neck. And then I move to the final bone, which I will name head. The keys that I'm using will be displayed down here in the corner. Now I go back and focus on just the circle in between the neck and the chest. I press E to extrude. I bring this bone down near his armpit. Now I extrude again, this time hitting X to keep it on the X axis. I stop near the elbow. Press E to extrude, X to keep it on the X axis, and I'm getting a bit off course, so I just want to adjust these two bones by selecting on one, holding shift, selecting on the other, then using the G key to grab and position it closer to the center of the arm. Then I go back and I continue with my final bone to the arm, which is the hand. Now I take a moment to rename these bones. I first name the shoulder SHDR dot L, which is very important. Now I go to the arm and I rename this arm. But the important part again is the dot L. I continue on down to my next bone. I name this one 4. And again, I use the dot L extension. And now down to the final bone. I'll name this one hand dot L. We do this so the computer will understand that all the bones that we are naming are on the left side of the body, and it will make a duplicate for the right side of the body. I reposition my screen so I can view the lower part of the body. Now I go back up and I select add, single bone, now the bone has appeared here, but it's hard to see. I press G to grab to bring it into my visibility. I continue pulling it down until it's about straight down. Then I click on the entire bone, I press G, and I relocate the bone over to its left thigh. I continue making adjustments until the tip is right where his kneecap should be. Now I'm going to parent this bone to this bone. I left click on one bone, then shift and left click on the next to select them both. I press Ctrl P, keep offset, and now you can see that these two are joined with this little stitch line. Now I continue my extrusions. I select the small circle at the end of the bone. I press E to extrude, Z to keep it on the Z axis, and I bring it down to where I think the ankle should be. Now I do my last extrusion of the foot, bringing it from the ankle down to the bottom of the sole. Now I change my angle. While the tip is still highlighted, I hit G to grab, and I bring it towards the front of the foot. Now I make a few more adjustments to the ankle. Next, I'm going to go up to the knee, and this one is very important, so the computer knows the correct way to bend the knee. I move it forward a bit. Now I move up to the top. This one is not necessary. but I just want to make a little adjustment here too. Now I'm going to name these bones. Left click to select, bone properties, thigh, dot, L. Shin, dot, L. Now over to my foot. Foot, dot, L. I make a few more adjustments to the spine. Now I switch to my Z-axis. And again, the elbow is very important so the computer knows which way the arm should bend. So I'll make a few adjustments here. I also move the shoulder a bit, but this is not necessary. Now I change my axis. I press A to select all. As you can see, I have all the bones selected. Then I hit Shift and N and select View Axis. I change my axis again. I select the circle between the thigh and the shin, and I hit E to extrude. Then I click on the bone. I hit Alt P to clear parent. And then I grab the bone and I move it a little forward. And then I move it a little upward. You will understand this later. Now I go over to my bone and I give it a name. Knee dot L. Now I want to go down to the deform and I want to uncheck it. Now I'm going back to the ball between the foot and the shin. I'm going to select on it. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Keeping it on the Y-axis. And now I am going to clear the parent by hitting Alt P and selecting clear parent. Now I'll go rename this bone and we'll call this one heel dot L. And we will also uncheck the deform tab. Now I go to change my mode to pose mode. Now I select on the shin. This time it's highlighted in blue. I go over to my bone constraint properties. I want to add a constraint. Under tracking, I go to inverse kinematics. select the eyedropper tool and I use this to click on the armature. I go back and for my bone, I choose heel.L. I select my eyedropper again and I go over and I select on the armature again. Now I go back and select another bone, and this time it is heel.L again. For my pole angle, I type in 90 degrees. For my chain length, I move it to 2. Now I go and select my foot bone. I move back over to my bone constraint properties. I click on add constraint. Under transform, I select copy rotation. Now, with the eyedropper tool, this time I click on the heel bone. Under my bone, I type in heel.L and I wish to invert this on the x-axis. Now for my target, I wish to change the world space to local space. Also for the owner, right here, I wish to change it from world space to local space as well. Now I select my Bone Properties tab. Under Relations, I open the tab and I go down to Inherit Rotations and uncheck the box. Close it back up. Now I go back to my y-axis. I hit A to select all of the bones. Now I go up and I change my mode to edit mode. Now I press F3 and a box appears and I type in symmetrize. Now you can see that it has replicated bones over on the right side. Now I go back to object mode. I click on the character's body, then I press shift click and select the bones. Now I hit Control P and I choose with automatic weights. Now I go back over to pose mode. Change my axis click on the heel bone, press G to grab, and voila, it works. And please remember to tune in to our next episode where we will be animating this character. And also to like, share, and subscribe.